Hello, Soul Friends. This is Soulflower LLC. Nicole coming to you with Soul Garden Podcast. The Other Sheep series, episode 4. I'm gonna do my best not to hold you long this time. I'm doing this kind of late. It's around 11:33 my time, and I have work in the morning, so I'm gonna do my best to make this quick. I just wanted to stop by and talk with you about some things that I have learned on my personal development journey as a sacred service to you, our community, our collective. So let's dive right in. I cut down the disclaimer because I was tired of talking about so much. So I have been working on doing more editing to make these shorter because I don't like long videos. So I'm going to do my best to honor that with y'all too. Even though some of the subjects are going to be heavy and I am going to have to talk about things for long periods of time. Just to be honest. It's going to be some long-winded ones, but tonight I'm going to do my best to make this one short. Doesn't need to be short, but it will be. Here's the disclaimer. We're not formal, as you know. If you look for that, that's okay. This is not for you. This is a Soul Consciousness Podcast. The featured services and the featured subjects are for awareness, information, and personal growth purposes. Soulflower LLC are certified life coaches and meditation teachers. We are certified in our fields. Yet we still identify with being lifelong learners, lifelong seekers, and students of life. With the beginner's mind, this podcast is for you to decide who you are in the light of the information that's provided, and is an opportunity for you to grow personally if you so choose to do so. It's merely information for you to decide who you are based upon what you learn here. Glean. You do not have to accept this hook, line, and sinker. We are not trying to convert you. This is also not a podcast for children. This is for a mature audience. If they're under 18, you're going to have to let it go. We can't, we're letting you know right now. It's for mature audience because sometimes we have expletives, and we have mature content. So, that's it on that. Please, by all means, again, glean, take what resonates, and move forward. Last but not least, if you disagree, that's fine. We're all not made the same. That's cool. I believe what I believe. I know what I know. For me. Man, that's that on that. What you know, that's cool. That's great. I love that for you. I love this for me. We're all good. Okay? We can agree to disagree. You don't like anything that I'm saying, it's all good. All you have to do, click off. It's a click away, literally. So it is. Oh yeah. One more thing. We don't reach out to you for services because this is a sacred service. This is a self-investment for you. So you have to reach out. This is for you. We're here for you. We're available. But we're not. We only help people that help themselves. So it is. All right, here we are. Soul Garden Podcast. The Other Sheep series, episode 4. This is on YouTube only right now, currently. All right, the subject for this Sunday is the introduction to mastery learning. Now, this traditionally is called inner work. However, I have been enlightened to realize that inner work has, it has negative connotations with it now, or it can. For me personally, it does because of the experiences I've had. However, um, it is vital for us mentally, emotionally, physically, and if you so ascribe to spiritual. My rabbits are in the background. I not doing the binaural beats that I normally do on the podcast, so we may resume that next week. We may not. I don't know. But back to mastery learning. Again, it is another term for inner work. Um, we have been discussing it just lightly in the other conversations that we've been having. But again, it is congruent with inner work. You know, inner work or mastery learning is mostly, for me, in my experience, been about an inner alignment with myself, with the self within, because we are made of different parts, and those different parts have different levels of consciousness. So, the self within is what some people call the higher self, some people call the Holy Spirit, the Holy Ghost, whatever you want to call that consciousness that we have within. Some people believe that it's actually not on the inside of us. Well, that's a different discussion. That's about the body. I won't say that. I'll save it for later. But it's about getting in contact with our authentic self within. And that alignment with our inner self leads us to self-mastery. The way that we do that process is through mastery learning. So let me clarify for you. We utilize tools of mastery learning in order to align inwardly with our higher self or our authentic self within. Some people also call that my words are eluding me. Yeah, another word for higher self. Well, I lost the train of thought, which means it doesn't need to be said. So we're gonna move on. But mastery learning again correlates with inner work, and the most simple way that I can convey what mastery learning, i.e., inner work, is that inner alignment, that process of inner alignment that we use tools of self mastery for in order to align with our authentic selves. Right? So that's a rough introduction, but nevertheless, there it is. I think that on my journey, I've learned that our resistance is why we feel like our inner alignment is work. Um, Anything that is natural, it tends to flow very easily. So the fact that we are not aligned with our inner selves and we don't go with the flow naturally is evidence that we do have resistance. Because we are human beings. Human broken down is part man, part divine. So I want to say hue means divine in some way, but I don't want to lie to you. But I have heard the human broken down, the word itself broken down, uh, means God man or divine man or something like that. Um, but if we are divine and if we are divine beings, then we need to be aligned with that. Um, and if we have a process that we can do that to alleviate the suffering in our lives, then by all means, I know for me personally, I did whatever I could to get access to those tools. Um, but again, we all have our different paths and our different levels of suffering that lead to us desiring that inner alignment. So that is something to be factored in. Now, mastery learning does have different. We'll get into the different types of tools, but not tonight. We're just doing an introduction. I'm just exposing you a little bit to some of the deeper conversations that we will have in other episodes. But let's talk about this slide that's before us right now. Waiting to be saved is a trap of manipulation. It absolutely is. Um, and I think that that's the dog and pony show that has been going on for eons in various different ways and practices and belief systems. However, that's just my opinion, based off of the definition of manipulation. So, if that's not the way that you feel, that's fine. Again, this podcast is catered towards people who have experiences that they desire and crave this inner alignment, but don't know how to get it. So you can click out any time if it's boring or you disagree. But in this podcast, in my experience, waiting to be saved is a trap of manipulation, and it is a trap to not to evolve, not to grow, personally, as well. Because when we control things, we put them in a box, or we make them inauthentic, things that there are not, and that creates more misalignments. And it's manipulating is like turning on a manipulation with mastery learning. I'll say that is basically like being in the city and keep taking rights, hoping you're gonna make it to your destination without planning. You're just doing it because you think that's the way you need to go, or or you got some other type of perception or agenda surrounding your destination instead of seeking resources and tools that are going to help you and guide you to the direction that you need to go in order to get to your destination. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's waiting to be saved as being a trap of manipulation. Also, manipulation kind of it doesn't work with mastery learning because you're facing the shit that you in the past either didn't want to face or don't know how to face. So the whole point of manipulation is a lot of times is to avoid a certain outcome that is unfavorable to you. You have to face everything with mastery learning. The tools help you to face it, but you have to get access to the tools. Otherwise, you're just spinning your wheels in patterns and cycles that you're either aware of or you're not aware of. And that is exhausting and creates even more suffering. I would even tentatively can't say that word tonight. Add that. Well, I was trying to stop. That means it doesn't need to be said. I don't know. Well, we're gonna move on because I'm trying to get us together here. Benefits of mastery learning is emotional intelligence for one thing, and free will choice. I don't know how I put that. This is inaccurate. This is not the benefits. Let's talk about the benefits. It's inner peace, self mastery, which we've been talking about the past few episodes. Optimal well being, which includes mental, emotional, physical, and if you ascribe, spiritual health and well being. And the ability to achieve anything that we desire. Some people call that manifestation. And some people just call it hustling. Some people call it being a go-getter. Whatever you ascribe to, by all means, I support you in all of that energy. I don't know how that first one got there, but it did. We're moving forward. Just as the unknown can be intimidating, yet it is the path to authentic empowerment. There's the only way out of anything, mentally, emotionally, physically, and if you ascribe spiritually, is to go through it. Can't go around it and you can't go around it. Especially when it comes to blocks within to our connecting with the self. You have to go within and you have to face everything. It's not a fake it till you make it. It's not a face it till you make it. It is a face, FACE, it until you make it. That is the only way to authentic empowerment. Now I wanted to talk about why we chose mastery learning and inner work, which I've given you repetitive reasons. But personally, I went through a lot of shit that was not fun. Incredible suffering, major heartbreaks, major loss. And it felt terrible. Those experiences, they felt terrible. So I felt the urge to heal all of that because I was, I felt like I was dying, to be honest. Dying slowly. It's like a slow suicide. I felt like I was in some form of hell until I was exposed to mastery learning. Um, my relationships were trash. Um, Pain is a catalyst. Pain is a part of this process too. I don't want to give you so many negative connotations about pain. We in mastery learning, we have learned how to shift our perception of pain in a way that it serves us. And in the way that pain serves us is that it causes us to awaken to what's going on with us so that we can heal it or change. So that's that on that. A lot of suffering and a lot of pain does lead to crippling, and it does lead to regression of growth. So we have to be aware of these things. And I know you see these things in your life. I know you see these examples that I am speaking of in your relationships as well. It may not be close like relationships, but it might be associates. But these things they're easy to see. They're easy to pick up on because they're so prevalent in our society, and we see these things. We see it as being normal. But then, they're normal. They're just unnatural. I'll say that. I'm gonna give you some tips about mastery learning. Two things must be identified: energy and patterns. This is a kindergarten skill. If you have experiences that keep occurring, then that is an opportunity for mastery learning. If you have feelings that things are off, or you're off, or something's off with your relationships or your environment, that is an opportunity for mastery learning. But the reason why energy and patterns are two things that must be identified is because those two things are going to tell you the truth of who you have been, who you are in the moment, and who you are continuing to become. The only way to change all of those things is by free will and choice. And through mastery learning. Mastery learning makes that process easier. Soul cultivation tools are vital. I don't even think I would be here without this information, to be honest with you. This has way more gravity of urgency than I think that we are aware of. I mean, we might be coming online to it, but I don't know. We have, right now we have this, it seems like this fad of everyone into, well, that's generalized, where we have an uptick of people that are interested in personal development. However, I have seen a pattern of us, an energy of there still needing to be some soul cultivation and mastery learning done. And that's even on my own part. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying that, this shit is vital. I mean, and it helps immediately. And it's natural. It's a natural way of being for us. Another good tip is no one can make you feel anything. No us. No one can make us feel anything. All of our everything that is dealing with humans, a human being comes from the inside, the internal, and then it is, for lack of a better term, manifested outwardly. It's not the other way around, as we are led to perceive, and that takes practice, which is part of mastery learning. If you spot it, you got it. That's an old school term, but it is so true. And one of our very, very good soul cultivation tools, well, it's a mastery learning tool. We'll get more into the if you spotted it, you got it with it, because that mastery learning tool is, it can bring significant growth. There are two of them. Well, really all of them bring significant growth. But you can see immediate growth. You can see immediate growth of all of them. Just let me. I'm just gonna keep going. They all good, but there is one that is very closely linked to the if you spot it, you got it one. Energy and patterns, there's one link to that one too. No one can make us feel anything. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure there is one associated with that, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Self-love is the best love. That's some of the best shit that's popping right now. If, in the right context, in its true, authentic meaning, I'll say that. Because some people think self-love is selfishness, and it's not that. Self-love is choosing the health of the self. Choosing to be responsible for the self, and taking responsibility for your life. That's self-love. There are mastery learning tools. All of them are connected to that one. Everything begins with the self. I know a couple in particular that are closely linked to that one, but all of the mastery learning tools will redirect you to the self. You will always be rerouted to you. Because again, no one can make us feel anything. Everything comes from the inside. So we have to face everything internally first, opposed to responding to everything externally. And you stay with me, we'll keep talking about it, and I will relay the information on how to do that. Or you can just ascribe to some, contact us, and I can train you on all of this shit, man. You won't have to wait for some of it to be brief, because I'm not gonna go in the depth that I would go in it with you if I'm training you to do this. This is literally training you how to fish instead of giving you a plate and you have to figure out what the fuck you gonna eat for the rest of your life. These are literal skills. They're gonna help you navigate life if you commit to them. So, we're about to do our self-mastery pool. That's the end of that. Like I said, I just want to introduce that to you because of time constraints. It is 12:12. And no, it's 12:02. My bad. Here is our self-mastery card of today. And it says, Well, tonight, I will communicate clearly and directly in my conversations with others. I will strive to avoid manipulative, indirect, or guilt producing statements. I can be tactful and gentle, or I can be assertive if necessary. I do what's right in the moment. The back of this card, well, the title of this card is called Communicating Clearly. And that is also one of the benefits of doing mastery learning. It helps you to communicate clearly what the fuck is going on with you so that other people can understand and make the decisions that they need to make for themselves based off the information that you have given them. Because that's their responsibility. That's their part in the relationship that they have with you. But I have enjoyed, as usual, talking with you. I do feel like these things are all over the place, but I'm gonna keep talking to y'all about this shit because it is important, especially with all the shit that's going on in society now. I don't really pay attention to a lot of things anymore because I basically have found out that I am here to do this shit. So that's what my mind is to be on. And I do enjoy life. Absolutely, I do enjoy life. It's just that I live a more centered, a more mastery learning centered life now. I have some more terms for it, but we'll get into that later. Well, it's time for us to be. Well, it's time for this thing, yeah. Be honest. I want y'all to live free. And I want y'all to die well. I know that's a strange saying, and we'll get into what die well means as we delve further into master learning. But I want y'all to have a good night. I wish you a good night. I pray that you have a good night. I intend for you to have a good night. And you take care, and we'll reconvene with our discussion next Sunday. Love and light. This is the code from Soulfile LLC with our Sunday podcast called Soul Garden of the Sheep Series, episode 4.